Hello everyone. I wanted to start a channel on Down syndrome. This would be my first video. So if you're interested in this topic, I will be walking you through my journey and this topic. I cannot definitely say how often I'll be posting. It's pretty much when I get some news, I'll share it. And if you're interested, please subscribe. I will be updating with my journey. As I receive information, you will receive information. And I will continue this channel after my baby is born. It'll go from the pregnancy to the journey of raising a child with Down syndrome. So I have 4 children and I'm currently pregnant. My 2 oldest children have ADHD, and that is a challenge in of itself. My 3rd child is just passing for not having autism. Like, she's just passing, so she doesn't have autism, but she is like, here's autism, here's her, and here's where like a non-autistic, like totally, like, you know. So she's barely passing for autism. And then my 4th child seems to not have any mental disabilities. She has hit every milestone on time. Other than this potty training journey, she's 2 years old. She gets the pee thing, but she doesn't tell me when she's got to go. She just goes. So I got to be persistent in putting her on the potty, because then she'll go, but she won't tell me. So anyways, I wanted to start this channel based on what has happened in my journey so far. So I have 8 weeks left before my baby is due. And the reason I find it so important to make this video is the fact that when I got this news, my first instinct was to go on YouTube and see how many other people have experienced these results. How many people have got false results, how many people got positive results, how they got through it, and so on and so forth. And I want to be part of that journey for someone else who may get these results. So during my, I want to say my 12-week ultrasound, give or take, the doctor noticed a calcium deposit in my baby's heart. And that was a little bit scary because I never heard of that. And the doctor kind of explained it's a marker for Down syndrome, but that the calcium deposit in and of itself is not harmful, and that it could also be found in babies without Down syndrome, but that it is a marker for Down syndrome. So he offered for me to go and have further testing done for Down syndrome, and I waved it away. I was not interested. I was like, if that's all they're seeing, I'm not too concerned. If this is found in normal babies, I'm just going to do research on calcium deposits found in babies' hearts. And that's what I did. I went home, I did research, and it's very common in normal babies. So I didn't really worry about it, but the doctor wanted to do another ultrasound, a follow-up ultrasound, about 4 to 8 weeks later, to see if the calcium deposit resolved itself, if it, you know, went away, because that can happen, or if it was still there. So that's what we did. I'm not sure if it was 4 weeks later or 8 weeks later, somewhere in between there. I went in to check the heart again, and my doctor said, well, the calcium deposit is still there, but there's something else that I personally, as a doctor, have not seen. And I'm like, uh-oh. And he said there's a second calcium deposit, and that he himself has never seen it, but that it does happen. And he said because of this second calcium deposit, he strongly advises that I go for further Down syndrome testing. And that he also found something wrong with the stomach. I'm not quite sure what he said about the stomach, because I was so fixated on, oh my gosh, there's another calcium deposit in the heart. What's going on? Did I do something to cause calcium deposits in the heart? I was so fixated on that, I kind of didn't really hear, or, well, I heard, but I didn't register what he said about the stomach. So we did go to where he advised us to go. It was I guess a bigger, better hospital that does better ultrasounds or whatever. So we went there for further looking of the baby, and they confirmed there are 2 calcium deposits in the heart, and that there is a blockage in the stomach, which is a big marker for Down syndrome. And so I was like, yeah, okay, so now we've got 2 markers for Down syndrome. And they said I could do a blood test that would read the amniotic fluid within my blood and tell me, pretty much tell me if the baby has Down syndrome or not, but to not 100% guarantee that the baby has Down syndrome, that, even if it comes back positive, you still have a chance that the baby does not have Down syndrome. The best way to get an accurate result is, I forget what it's called, but they stick a needle through your stomach and they draw out fluid from the amniotic sac, or the whatever. And that was too invasive for me. It causes a high risk for miscarriage and so on and so forth. And my husband and I, we have 3 girls, and so we've been praying for a boy, and this baby is a boy, and I just didn't want to risk losing the boy we've been trying for. And I didn't like the idea of a needle going through my stomach, so I said, no, the blood test will be fine. We'll see what that says. And so we did. We did the blood test. My kids are playing. We did the blood test. And about a week and a half. It wasn't really that long of a wait that they called me, and they said my results were positive for Down syndrome, but that my results were a little bit odd. It wasn't like a full positive. It wasn't like 100% positive. It was more of a 68% positive. So that is still high on the scale, but that because of that,
Mom,
they
can I get ice cream?
Go ahead. Because of that, they can't sit there and say, yes, your baby has Down syndrome. So I didn't really know how to take the results because of the fact it was only 68% positive and not 100% positive. And the doctor pretty much said, when it's negative, it's negative. But that when it's positive, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's positive. So that's a bit confusing in and of itself. This is loud, and it's gonna make no, we can't have that. So, hold on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. My kids are getting rowdy. I have 4 of them. So, yeah, the doctor said, you know, when it's negative, but when it's positive, who knows? If I wanted, I could go through with having the needle put in my stomach and blah, 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 and that would actually confirm whether or not the blood test was accurate. And I said, no. I said, you know, looking at the fact that there's 2 calcium deposits in the heart, the blood test came back positive, and there's a blockage in the stomach, my baby has Down syndrome, and I don't think further testing needs to be done. So how did I take the results? What are my thoughts on it, and what do I plan on doing and further going? Well, I cried. I cried because I am raising mentally disabled children already, and I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. It's a very difficult thing, and to add another more mentally disabled child to the mix, I feel like I'm not capable. I feel like I can't do this. There's no way I can do this. But at the same time, this is my baby, and I prayed for him. I begged God for a boy. I didn't so much beg God for a healthy baby, but I begged God for a boy, and I finally got a boy. I do have a son, but he's with a previous relationship, not my husband's son. This is mine and my husband's first son. We have 3 daughters. It's definitely a challenging thing for me, and I am scared as a parent about doing this right. But other than that, in and of itself, something's going on. Hold on. Sorry again. So I will continue to keep you posted, continue to keep you updated. My husband and I plan on having a 4D ultrasound. Again, even a 4D ultrasound cannot guarantee or pick up Down syndrome, because sometimes Down syndrome doesn't show up, like the features don't show up until they're a toddler, in some cases. But my husband and I feel like we want to, this is our last baby. Excuse me. This is our last baby, and we never had a 4D ultrasound. So we feel we want to go through with a 4D ultrasound, and I will be sharing that whenever it gets done. And I'll just keep you posted on this journey and continue after the baby's born. So hopefully this helps someone who recently received this news as well, in some way, shape, or form. And that, just stay tuned, subscribe, and I will be posting more, I promise. Alright, bye.